hopes for a playoff spot come to an end. The Edmonton Elks, for the first time in franchise history, the longest playoff drought ever, 5 straight seasons without being in the playoffs. The Edmonton Elks, they fall to the BC Lions by a score of 37-24, thus ending any hopes of the Edmonton Elks going into the final week of the regular season with a chance to make it to the playoffs. Welcome to the Green and Gold Postgame Show, live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, your clear choice for Edmonton sports, presented by Play Alberta. Thank you to everyone for listening across the Edmonton Sports Talk audio streams on edmontonsportstalk.com, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Apple Music. Thank you for those watching on YouTube or anyone listening to this on podcast. We appreciate you as well. Iwanyk and Jay Milne with you here in the EST controls at the west end of town, where it's bumping. Because we had some pizza and we watched a football game, and we had a great time doing it. Lovely company. We had a great time, and there's nothing else going on over here. We want to hear from you. 780-218-9999, or you can jump in to the nasty chat. I have a splash of root beer to honor the playoff hopes of the Edmonton Elks. Very refreshing.
Cheers.
Cheers, Jay. Just nothing says playoff hopes dashed like a little bit of flat root beer in our fridge from Wednesday.
Just a splash.
Just a splash. Well, that's a little more than a splash. I took a beer glass, mini beer glass for that one. I also just want to quickly point out that I am going to be taking home a large pizza today because I ordered 2 larges and some crazy bread for you, myself, and one other individual, Kayla, who was here. That's how you order pizza.
Yes, you did it well.
That's how you order pizza. Your thoughts again. I see comments already coming into the nasty chat, and I'm assuming on the inbox. Open up that right away here. Jay, your thoughts on tonight's game?
Yeah, just everything we laid out in the kickoff show as far as keys to an Elks victory did not happen. I mean, I said one thing I was afraid about, that this new Elks defense that totally transformed throughout the season and became quite a force, had not seen a true dual threat quarterback, and Nathan Rourke was simply outstanding. I mean, you have to give credit where it's due. Nathan Rourke torched this team with his arm. He torched this team with his legs. 3 carries for 82 yards and a touchdown. I mean, obviously the 70-yard touchdown scamper helps with that total, but still, they couldn't contain him. They couldn't get Nathan Rourke to look human, and ultimately it burnt them. I mean, look, BC's second down conversion rate going into this game as an average was 53.9%. Tonight, they held BC to 42% on second down conversions. That, if you add that with an offense that's clicking and your ability to stop Nathan Rourke's legs, might have been a different story, but it wasn't. And you have to give credit where it's due. Nathan Rourke looked outstanding tonight, and Cody Fajardo just,
it wasn't his best.
No, it's probably his worst. Might have been his worst. Some of the reads where I don't know where some of those passes were going. He didn't look in rhythm for most of the second half, or maybe all of the second half. So yeah, I mean, the better team won tonight. I do have some other things to say. Obviously, this is where the road ends for this team. Not going to make the playoffs, but I still think there's a lot of positives to come out of this season. But we'll get into that next week, I'm sure.
Yeah.
We can break down tonight's game as much as you want.
Yeah. The thing is, what's great about how this season now is coming to is next week, and we'll preview a little bit about Stampeders Elks. But we've got a kickoff show and a post-game show to look towards 2026. That's what next weekend will be very much focused on. Tonight's kind of more so looking at tonight's game and where this season kind of what could have been of this season. Tonight was very much a tale of two halves for me.
Yes.
Look, you have a tie football game going at halftime.
Yep.
the Elks defense came out in that first half, and they were great. They got to Nathan Rourke in a way, forced him to have some, he had a couple of throws that were just a little off. You pointed out to one of them where they didn't get to him, but he had to get rid of the ball.
He was unsettled.
He was unsettled. It was just out of the reach of Keon Hatcher. There was a few of those that we saw tonight. We had a turnover early where, big, wide open Justin McInnes gets the ball. He's moving well into Elks territory. But on the same play, a mistake happens, but then the Elks cause a fumble and they get the ball back and they turn it over. What is going to bite them from the first half is the fact that offensively they couldn't get anything going, really. It took a long time, and that's a game that could have maybe, walked away from it. And the defense gives up a late score at the end of that first half. What could have been if he didn't have that, touchdown, if you stopped that one. But at that offense, 2-0 after the first quarter, the defense was playing quite well. When you look at the BC Lions, this is the BC Lions offensive production until that last drive of the first half where they scored a touchdown. It was punt, fumble, punt, 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 punt. And you were up 10-2. That was it. You needed more from the offense in that regard because the defense really did come to play. We saw it at the beginning of the year. This defense couldn't get stops against Nathan Rourke. In the first half, they got the stops. They just didn't get anything going with that. Tough way to start the second half when you have the pick six from Cody Fajardo. I also am very curious about that third down gamble that they went for. Were they down 7? It was a 3rd and 12 at midfield. Your defense had been playing well, and it seemed way too soon for me to see the urgency from Mark Killam. We have to go for this. We have to go for this. We also missed kick from Blanchard to start the game too. That hurts. But that we have to go for this one. Kicking or your offense is going. Maybe it's you're trying to kickstart your offense, but it's 3rd and 12. It's a big distance, and your defense to that point had been playing well. I didn't like that. Turned it over. BC gets the ball at a great field position. And I think then things just quickly spiraled from there for the Edmonton Elks. And then, as you said, Cody, off night. And then as things do in BC, they go quick. They go quick. Week 1, it was a close game going into the fourth quarter, I believe it was.
Yeah.
And then it went away from the Edmonton Elks. There's something about going to BC. BC is a team that can have such a quick strike. And you could be close with each other, and all of a sudden, before you know it, you're left in the dust, and they're well ahead of you.
I didn't mind that 3rd and 12 call. I just wish that this team had that sense of urgency throughout the season. That sense of I don't give a damn. We're going to go for it anyways because my defense will hold up. That was just why now? Why change all of this now? That was a 1-score game at that point. Pin them deep, let your defense do the job, and get the ball back. I just thought, okay, you can be aggressive, but please be aggressive earlier in the season. And I think hopefully that is something that this young coaching staff will learn and change for next year. But yeah, it was not a great night for Cody Fajardo. I mean, well below his season averages. I mean, he was 56%, 19 of 34, 3 interceptions. Not a good night. Just simply put, not a good night for Cody Fajardo. Justin Rankin was not a factor at all.
No, and somebody did tweet at me earlier during the kickoff show saying he was under the weather.
Maybe he was.
And I hadn't seen anything like that. And that it did look like it though, that there was we saw a lot of Javon Leak in that first half.
Sure we did.
And it made me wonder if there was a reason that we were seeing a lot of Javon Leak, because maybe Justin Rankin was feeling a little bit under the weather. But you have a guy like Justin Rankin, you should be good enough to still be able to move that ball and score. But where was this third down again? It was there was the play summary. So for that third down play, so third half, if the first quarter starts, you got the interception. They get the ball. The Elks get the ball at the BC 45 to start. Rankin runs for 2 yards. Then Fajardo gets sacked for 4. And then it's turnover on downs. It's only 7 points, and you still have 11 minutes to go in the third quarter. Why go for that?
Yeah.
Like in the I'm with you. Like I wish I saw that urgency in other games.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Like Toronto and Hamilton, they should have had those.
Yes.
That's when you needed that urgency.
100%.
But today it just felt like, because then right after that, what happened was they got a field goal. So you did hold them to a field goal, but you gave them great field position. I would rather, with the way the defense was playing, because even to start the half, BC started with the football. And what happened was the Elks defense came out and got a 2-and-out. Like, I wonder if that was almost a deflating thing for the defense of sometimes, the coach doesn't have faith in us. Like from a defensive side, why are you going for this? You don't have faith in us to go get the ball back for you?
Yeah. It was just odd timing. I mean, I understand this is a must win or was a must win.
And if it was fourth quarter, it'd be different.
But the last half of the season was damn near must win for this team, given the terrible start they got off to. And yet you saw them back-to-back walk-off losses that really are stinging them right in the ass right now. Those back-to-back walk-off losses were due to a lack of aggressiveness. So you can't have it both ways. Choose who you are. And I think for the CFL especially, and if you have a defense that is capable and able to do what this Elks defense can do, then you should choose to be more aggressive consistently, not just when everybody's expecting it. So yeah, it was a close game in the first half, Matty, but then it just blew apart in the second half.
Yeah,
and you're right. It started with that pick six to start it.
Yeah, because you got the 2-0, then it was a pick six. Here's the other thing I'll say too, because we talked about this last week going into the game. You want to? I'll stick on the 3rd and 12. I would have rather seen them do some sort of fake on a punt instead.
Yes,
we've seen none of that this season. I would have rather seen we're going to try to catch them with Jake Julian throwing the football or something than going with the offense who had struggled throughout the game for the most part to get yards. And even on that drive, they were -2 on that drive. In 2 plays, they went backwards. And you went, okay, well, that's okay. We're going to go get 12 yards on this offensive play, even though our defense so far through this whole game has been playing very well.
Yeah.
I thought it was a complete panic move way too soon, and it dictated the rest of the second half for the Edmonton Elks, where everything just fell apart and this game was over. Do you want to get into command center officiating?
Oh, do you want me to? Look, there was a missed face mask, a blatant missed face mask on Kion Julian Grant in the first half. I didn't see the control center or the replay center come in and say, oh, hey, player safety, we got to call that. When I looked at the rules, that is absolutely reviewable by, what do they call it? The command center. Okay? Short yards. Cody Fajardo went for it, or the Elks went for it with Cody Fajardo, 3rd and a yard. Cody Fajardo got about 2.5 yards. That was as clear of day of a first down as I've ever seen on short yardage. The fact that these officials ruled that as short is actually quite concerning. And I'm not joking.
That was a bad one.
This is not a shtick on refs.
No.
This is concerning. This is a problem if you are honestly telling me that somebody on that field as an official thought that Cody Fajardo did not get the yards gained.
I'm going to add on top of that. It's not that someone on the field didn't see him get the yards gained, is that no one went to go correct it. We see huddles all the time. We see huddles with officials all the time. Like, no, you're wrong. This got it.
Yes.
And so it wasn't even one official initially marked it wrong. It was that no other official went, no. He got it. We all saw it. Like, no, you missaw that. This is a first down. That they all just went, yeah, no, you're right.
It wasn't even close, Matthew.
No, it wasn't under a pile or something.
Article 3.
Came right through.
Automatic review game administration triggers. The first scenario is the spotting of the ball.
Yeah, and the Elks had to review that one.
That is a damn shame. And I'm not kidding you. That makes the league look like shit when you do that. That is deplorable. That is disgusting. That is embarrassing on so many levels. One being the fact that there is other officials on the field that should be able to do that. Secondly, command center. Either you don't care and you've already fallen asleep because you don't care about this game, or you're simply not doing your job. Your job is to enforce situations exactly like this, as per your own rule book. I'm sick of saying the same thing over and over and over. Then, Curly Gittens Jr., a 100% defenseless receiver. And hey, I love that hit. I wouldn't call that. But the fact is, it's been called, and it is a rule in this league that you cannot hit a defenseless receiver. As per the rule book, illegal if the contact is forceful, not a result of making a play on the ball or an attempt to wrap the receiver up. To me, Maddie, that's a clean hit. That's football. But you cannot have it both ways. If you're going to penalize Tyrell Ford last week for hitting Brady Oliveira in the thigh pads and saying it was a defenseless receiver and you hit him at or below, screw off. Wake up. This is embarrassing. This is now 3 plays in this game where this command center, I don't know who you are, but if you're listening, just be consistent. Show some consistency that you actually have read the rule book. Oh, and that you actually understand the rules as they are laid out. Because what I'm seeing clearly suggests otherwise. And it is very, very damning to your product to say, well, why was this? And I mean, hey, we focus on Elks games. So if this is happening elsewhere, put your hand up and let me know. Send me an email, jay@edmontonsportstalk.com. I'd love to hear from you. But I'm telling you, this is embarrassing at this point. There was 3 different instances tonight that I'm waiting for this grand command center to interject and make the right call. No, not once. And last week, Tyrell Ford hits Brady Oliveira clean. Very clean. Not even by the rule book clean. And you overturn that? Like, wake up. This is just a shame. You're taking, you're picking your spots. Just be consistent. Follow your own rule book. Be aware of what the rule book states. And be aware of your responsibility to the game. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I'll start with that. But like last week, I believe it was in Montreal, Ottawa, there was a hit very similar to Tyrell Ford on Brady and not called. And then this week, you don't have it called. There's a consistency. If you're going to call one game, you're going to call it all games. Is it a rule or is it not a rule? And especially if it's going to go to a command center, that's when it should be most consistent. I can understand when rules, there's a discrepancy between crews because everyone has a little bit different rules. But on a play like that, it goes to the command center, it should be fixed. Like this, the command center should have come in and called the Curly Gittens. Because like defensive receiver, and I think it got head. Like to me, I felt like head was hit on that play too, which is that before we started worrying about the lower body, the head was the most important thing that we were focused on.
Yeah, and clearly not. So to hell with your head. To hell with concussions. Because it doesn't matter. Oh, but it does. Hang on. When it's Brady Oliveira, and he's a star running back in the league, and it's a tight game. Oh, wow. We better interject because the Winnipeg Blue Bomber sideline said, well, you can't hit him below the knee. Control center, we better. Like, come on. Somebody is not doing their job. Somebody is on the payroll and they are totally checked out because the lack of consistency. Like, I don't care. NFL, CFL, NFL. If you're going to call it goaltender interference, well, you better call it goaltender interference the same way across all 16 games that are on a daily or weekend schedule for the NHL. That's all I'm asking for. And the lack of consistency. And by the way, Curly Gittens Jr. got his head taken off as a defenseless receiver. And it wasn't even, like, I thought it was a joke when I didn't see yellow all over the field. In the NFL, you would see that whole Curly Gittens Jr. would have been covered in yellow.
You often see refs just, especially in the NFL, throw a flag because they're worried about getting it wrong, that they throw it. And often we actually see it more go the other way, as they sometimes we go like, that wasn't a penalty, why are you throwing that flag? Because they're worried about missing those calls because they'd get in trouble or something. I'm with you on that one. I actually like that. The third down play for me, where the Elks have to challenge it, that's the one I look at as more embarrassing to them in a way, because when you have a review of a spot on the field, it's anywhere between a couple of inches to maybe a full yard difference generally. When you look at the spots where they end up, like for something like that, this was a 2-yard difference.
This was egregious.
This is the play was ruled turnover and downs BC 45. It was overturned to the BC 43. You missed 2 whole yards that had to get reviewed. Usually when there's a turnover on these type of challenges, it's only about a ball length or 2 ball lengths, not 2 full yards away. And that's why that one is much more disappointing. And the fact that, like, to me, one of the reasons I want replays in my sports is to correct egregious mistakes by officials. Where
yes.
Hockey, I'll throw the Matt Duchene offside that everyone knows that has seen that one, knows what I'm talking about in that one. I want those corrected. I don't need close calls always corrected. It's those egregious ones that you see, even you just like that was just completely wrong. You need to go fix that one quickly. This was one of those. And for the Elks, that they have to sit there, Mark Killam has to go, I have to challenge this?
Like,
Yeah,
are you
serious? And now
serious? I have to use this?
He still gets another challenge because he'll be right, but he shouldn't have to even risk it.
No.
It should just be, oh, you want to know something? Spot was wrong. We're going to go here. And from a player safety perspective, the Gittens Jr. is embarrassing. From a just doing your job perspective, to me, the turnover and downs one is the worst one, because it's just you miss something that on just the eye test right off the bat, everyone watching was like, yeah, he went there. And no one understands why it was placed where it was. And the fact that there's no proper protocols in place to correct it. Outside of the Edmonton Elks having to go, no, that was wrong, that we all know is wrong. That's the only way you can go about doing it. It's just wrong.
What'd you say it was? 2 yards?
It was 2 yards. The original play ended at the BC 45. They overturned it to the BC 43.
From the rule book, a spot will only be adjusted if it is clearly off by 2 yards or more. Like,
I guess maybe this was a yard and 3/4.
I've wasted enough breath on the lack. And like, this is a professional league, Matt. And it just boggles my mind. And everybody knows how I feel about referees, especially bad ones. But this is just different. And did it alter the game? No. I mean, they got the spot right and they did that. Yeah. But it's just the whole thing of last week it's this way, this week it's this way. I don't know. Lord knows what it'll be next week. But, like, if you want to cry player safety, you guys all know how I feel. I say hit them as hard as you can. Make snot bubbles come out. That's the football I love and played. The rules have changed. Okay? I understand that. Player safety. Sure. I'm for it. Don't hit to the head. Okay? Great. Don't knock out defenseless receivers. Sure. I know there's, everything that is in there. I'm not arguing that, because it is a rule. But for the love of God, follow your own rules. Why don't you have a scroll through the playbook or through the rule book? It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Well, and the fact that the command center, and I'll go to this part, it doesn't come in for a play like Gittins Jr., but it comes in when Bo gets a roughing the passer, which again, I'll stand by. That was a roughing the passer call. A
real egregious shot to player safety on Bo Levi Mitchell as compared to what Curly Gittins Jr.
That was a penalty, but it was missed at the time, and Hamilton was able to get a first down out of it, and Hamilton won that game. And that might be a difference of why the Edmonton Elks aren't playing for a playoff spot next weekend. You know, like the command center influenced one game. They didn't I'll actually say that like the command center. There's this way you could look at this is they influenced the game against Hamilton, which allowed Hamilton to win that football game against Edmonton, which cost Edmonton 2 points. They influenced last week's game by causing the Terrell Ford. And now, who knows how that would have fully played out? Now I know.
No,
but I'm saying, no, I'm not going full conspiracy.
Come on, let's dive.
But what I was going to go now, the Elks get the interceptions and stuff. No, but I'm saying is that maybe that game plays out differently without that play call, and the Elks win by 14. And what would
are going conspiracy?
Well, no, but it's how the command center doesn't have consistency, and the Edmonton Elks would instead have 2 more points on the table.
Yeah,
if they didn't mess with the Hamilton game, if they don't get involved in this Winnipeg game, and the Edmonton Elks could be playing for a playoff spot still next week. Like, it's where's this consistency? And it you could go and make the argument that the Edmonton Elks, the league caused problems that hurt the Edmonton Elks making the playoffs.
Matthew and Iwanyk.
Hey, thank you for going in the end.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I do want to just quickly try to jump through a few comments and then ask the chat. A lot of comments for next year, which, again, we're going to focus more on 2026 next week when we get set for Elks and the Stamps. Today's more to look back. Our defense was bad to start this season. Got better throughout the season, and our offense stayed bad and never really got it going. It was only okay because of Rankin. I don't agree that the offense stayed bad. I would actually disagree with that. Lions piled on the Elks harder than the regulars. Don't go fully there.
I didn't know that. That's from Dudley. It's in our inbox as well.
That's where it was. Shotgun Sports Scout. It was a better season than last. Proper foundations have been built. Elks have lots to build on. Defense did great tonight. Offense was brutal tonight. Third down gamble basically ended the game for the Edmonton Elks. Supersized Indiana Jones on things. Only Stuart Johnson moves the goalpost more than for some other arguments that's being had in the nasty. I do want to get it out there because anytime I could get a shot at a little bit of a shot right now at that one. Supersized Indiana Jones also adding all 4 finalists for Rant of the Year Estes next year. Maybe Green and Gold Jay Milne. You have 2 nominations or 2. You're now in the sheet twice there.
Well, it's just, it is what it is, but it is. And think of a player questioning what can I do? What can't I do? Think of a coaching staff. I mean, Mark Killam held his composure together quite well on that. Like, the head ref came over to Mark Killam laughing. That's how bad that review was. That's how awful the spot was. Like, I'm not kidding. Whoever made that spot should be out.
Well, it's one of those, we're told that they're supposed to hurt playoff assignments. That person should have their playoff assignment hurt immediately right there. And that's just the reality, because you can't make those mistakes.
You can't.
That is too egregious of one to miss. We're not talking about a close call. This was just plain and obvious.
2 yards.
2 whole yards. Just up the middle, not hidden under the pile or something like that. Just got right through.
It's clear. He was on top of everybody.
How concerned are you right now of the recent struggles of Vincent Blanchard? Are you concerned?
Mildly concerned. I mean, was that the difference in the game? No. Should he have made that? Yes. Do I think there will be more competition next year? Yes. Ultimately, I wanted to see Vincent Blanchard turn into something here. And unfortunately, over the last 2 games, he's really hurt his chances at creating or, laying some foundation as becoming that next Sean Fleming, that next Sean White. that can grow through some growing pains. And maybe he is. Maybe he will. Maybe he just had a few first year yips. It's hard to say until, next year. But I mean, he was in some pretty serious games at serious times that he needed to make kicks. And he has.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's foreign to it. It just might be a rookie thing, Maddie. I mean, this is a first year player.
Yeah.
This is a very young guy. He's got the leg distance. That is not at all a concern. So, maybe an offseason of figuring that out will help. So I'm not overly, I'm not pulling my hair out over it as much as I am this control center. But, mildly concerned. You?
No, I think it's just growing pains. I saw too many bright spots this year from him where he made some big kicks that I'm not of a mindset that you move on from a guy like this. I wouldn't mind seeing some competition in camp. I wouldn't mind seeing if there's a possibility of bringing in a nice veteran to challenge him and you go with the best person. I wouldn't be opposed to that necessarily. But I do think there are some growing pains. He has the leg, and I give him an off season to improve and learn from it and grow from it. I'm all for that. I'll go to the comparisons that Mark Killam had at the start of the year was Rene Paredes, and I'm just looking. He was 77.8%. He missed 10 kicks in his first season. Vincent Blanchard, I don't think the CFL stat site will be fully updated for tonight's game. He was 1 of 2 for tonight. So do they have BC in here? No, they do have BC in here. He's 34 of 43 for 79.1. So I said 34 of 43. Paredes was 35 of 45. So they're almost eerily similar.
That is
in that regard. Jose Maltos, who is brilliant with the Montreal Alouettes with a massive leg. He started off, I remember, with a few misses to start his career, and he's turned it around a little bit. But Paredes, I'll just go. So 35 of 45, then 77.8%. The next year was 93%. He missed 3 kicks on 43. So I'm really want to see him come back and try again next year. But there has to be improvements early. Like you can't, there's no growing pains next year though.
No,
that's the thing.
No, you're not afforded that.
And tonight's first kick miss, it hurts because the Elks chose to start with the football. So they wanted to be aggressive. And
they were running off the field looking like high five and like, hey, it was like a team goal was to get points on the board on the first drive.
And what was the first play we saw?
Play action.
They finally, it wasn't a run up the middle or anything. We saw play action, play right down to Gittins Jr. or middle of the field, big gains.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the drive stalled a little bit, but they moved the ball quite nicely to open up the game. What was it? 5 plays, 33 yards. But yeah, they're going out, they're getting 3 points. Good start. We're not trailing in this football game. We're going to be leading in this football game. And that kick, it just looked weird off his foot. Right as soon as it went up in the air, it was like, uh-oh. And it was gone, and you didn't even get the single out of it.
Yeah.
And that's just, that can be such a deflating thing. And that's where it's like, that defense had such a strong first half. What could have been different if the Edmonton Elks just found one more touchdown? They had 17 points, and it would have been 17-10. BC probably doesn't go for the 2-point, so 17-9 at halftime.
Could have been 17-2.
If the defense holds them, but I'll say the defense gives up the one drive. What if you had 17, just one more touchdown?
Yeah. It could be.
What could have this game have been in the end?
But what did I say to you, at halftime? Is that, or I said that in the kickoff show, is that last time that they played, or the season opener, it was 7-3 Edmonton at half.
Yeah.
Then BC went inside, cracked code to the Edmonton Elks, and came out and destroyed them in the second half. Well, same thing happened tonight. So kudos to BC for being able to adjust that fast on offense. And that's something that this Elks coaching staff needs to get better at.
Are you sold on this BC Lions team to win the Grey Cup?
Am I sold?
Because I'll say something right now.
BC Lions.
Their way they're winning right now is how I thought they'd have to win this season to a degree. Their D line is good. I'll say that their D line is really good. They have to put up points.
I don't know.
I don't think that's a recipe for success come November. Especially when you got to go outdoors. You have to go to Saskatchewan, then you got to go to Winnipeg. And by Winnipeg, I mean Grey Cup.
Yeah, I just have seen too much highs and lows from BC. Like, it's fair to say that Edmonton's season kind of went like this, right?
Yeah, it started off low, was coming
trended
up,
upwards.
Quick dip for the BC, then it went back upwards.
Yeah. And like, if you're BC actually sitting there right now and you're saying that this Elks team hasn't shown signs of improvement, that this organization seems to have found something that was lacking, I don't really understand. I don't really think you're watching.
No,
I don't really think you're paying attention. I think for the most part, you're just used to what this organization was. And maybe it was a fall from grace from what you remember as a child or as in the glory days of, hey, that's me. That's me. That's a lot of us.
Well, this is a franchise record for the longest missed playoff streak.
It stinks.
This is 5 straight seasons missing the playoffs. Then it's 4. Then I think it's a 2. And then they've never, like, that's it. Of this entire franchise, they had a 5-year. This is the 5-year, hopefully not making it 6. There was a 4-year window where they didn't make the playoffs. There was a 2-year window. And then every other time they missed the playoffs, it's only 1 year.
Yeah.
They're back in it.
But I do believe that the management in place is right. I do believe that there's a new sheriff in town with Ed Hervey, Chris Morris. I do like that combination. And I think there's going to be a lot of necessary changes to this team in the offseason. And I know you said we have next week's game to talk about kind of our 2026 outlook for this team. So I maybe jump in the queue.
Well, I'm going to give you homework for next week.
Okay, I like homework. But it's much of the same. Sure, they got off to a slow start, kicked themselves in the foot. I tend to think that had this been Cody Fajardo's ball from day one, this might be a totally different season we're talking about right now.
See, and I completely disagree with that one.
Okay.
I don't think the BC games are different, and I think tonight helps show that case, and I don't think Montreal is different. There's maybe one other game different from that start of the season.
I know, but I'm just... It's not just about, in my opinion, Maddie, it's not just about quarterback play. It's about the team around the quarterback who they may have more belief in or less belief in. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do, but I don't think Cody Fajardo playing, the whole team was just very bad, and tonight I think proved, like, I don't think that Cody playing in that first game against BC or that other game against BC was going to make a difference. Because tonight showed it. They were just as bad.
I disagree with that because I think Cody Fajardo at the end of that game was taking shots that he normally wouldn't because this was a must-win game.
Yeah, no, but
this was not just an average regular
right. But he also threw a pick 6 at the start of the third quarter that Trey threw
that he'll
at
have
the beginning of the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
the Elks only had 10 points at halftime.
Oh well, don't you worry.
Right. The Elks defense was much better tonight through the first half than they were game 1 through the first half, or game 2 against BC in that first half. Like Dave Naylor and Farhan had a thing on TSN about the Elks turnaround, and they specifically focused on the defense. Mm-hmm. And yes, you could maybe point to some of that with Cody, but I've also pointed out some of those other stats, which the first drives in the early season, they weren't there. I don't know what game I would sit there and say, like, which game in those first 5 losses would have been different. There's only one. There's only one I could say maybe Cody maybe finishes that game off. Maybe he finishes it off, and it's the Winnipeg game. It's maybe one game. There's only maybe one game. But I'll say this right now from what I've seen, I wouldn't sit there and say Trey would have beaten Saskatchewan. I don't think Trey would have beaten Winnipeg or Calgary. But Trey would have won those games in August. And the team would have had every chance to beat Toronto and Hamilton because that's what we have seen in his career. I don't think this is that much of a different season because at the start, if Cody starts at the start of the year. I think maybe we're talking about 2 more, which now that's playoffs next weekend. I'll give you that, grant you that. That's playoffs.
What I'm talking about.
But at the same time, with Cody, they didn't finish off the games against Toronto and Hamilton.
Yeah. Now, was that a Cody problem or coaching staff, play calling, aggressiveness problem?
Well, he's the better leader. Go change the play call. Go or find a different guy. Go with Michael Riley.
I don't know that he can do that.
Go Michael Riley on this.
Yeah. We'll get into the Trey discussion next week, I'm sure.
There's nothing to get into for next week for that one.
Clearly, there seems to be.
That's just the idea of the Trey thing. Like it's over, people. Cody's barring a contract dispute in terms of Cody wanting to go for money somewhere else and getting maybe more money somewhere else, which we talked about on the Hango last week, that Edmonton might actually have the money to match almost anyone. He's your starter. And if Trey Ford is still with his franchise next year, it's going to have to be in a backup role, straight up, outright. There's just, again, I'll say this, we disagree on how the season would have started, but if roles were reversed and Cody started 1-5 and they put Trey in, I don't think the Elks have the same record down the stretch as they do with Cody. As I said, I think Trey would have gotten some of the same wins that Cody got in August, but I don't know if I could have sat here and said Trey would have gotten the win last week against Winnipeg, got it against Saskatchewan. Maybe he has a good record against Calgary. Like that's just the reality of this. At this very moment in time, as much as I still believe in Trey could be a starter in this league, Cody gives this team a much better chance to win, and there's just no disputing that. That's just the reality of this. You can't dispute that.
YYC No Flames for me says, I just really hope no coaching staff changes. If we let Killam go, he'll turn into a Jason Maas and have a success elsewhere. The guy is a dedicated gamer. The rest of the staff has improved all season. Supersized Indiana Jones answered him, but this coaching staff is not going anywhere. Chris Morris has made that very clear, that this coaching staff is going to have, I think, at least 2 more seasons together. I don't even think it's next year. I think
usually
they want
3 years.
Yeah, I think they want to have this team, this core of coaches together to grow together. Then they'll bring pieces in for sure. They're gonna have to improve the O-line. They're gonna have to get a game-changing receiver. They're gonna have to probably make some difficult decisions at defensive line. There's going to be changes here. But now I think GM Ed Hervey sees a blueprint of what he likes, what he doesn't like, where he can save money, where he needs to invest money. And it's also funny, YYC No Flames for me also says Cody is not the future, or Cody is not isn't the solution. I'm not necessarily, I don't necessarily disagree with that.
Why? What's the question? I think that's the question. That changes. It depends what the question is.
Well, I think the question is who's going to be the starting quarterback that can be a game changer for this organization moving forward.
Fair, but I'll say, can Cody lead this team to a Grey Cup in 2026?
Absolutely.
I agree with that.
Yeah, he can.
That's the number one thing. It's you're not finding game changers that often. That's one thing that made Trey Ford, I think, so exciting to people like me, was that if you could have built him up to be a star quarterback in this league, he would have been a game changer. He would have been a playmaker. Honestly, he had those skills to him. If the floor was a bit higher, that's, I think, what made it exciting, is because those guys are hard to find.
Yep, you're right.
Like, how many actual true game-changing quarterbacks are there right now in this
Nathan
CFL?
Rourke's don't just grow on trees.
There's Nathan Rourke, there's Davis Alexander.
Yeah, that's right.
That's kind of, I'd say, I'd bookend it for Canada.
But what are they both? They're both dual threat quarterbacks.
Yes. And again, then that's what Trey is. And then that's why there was the excitement around him.
Trey is not dual threat.
No, but he had the running ability.
That's
so if you could build that passing, I'm saying that's why it was the idea of what could be.
Gotcha.
And that's why it was so exciting. But Cody, there's not many of those. Like, Zach Collaros is a solid quarterback. He's got a great arm. Doesn't have a great Grey Cup record.
Fair enough.
You know, like Cody's a guy that can lead you to a Grey Cup. Like, so that's why, that's my thing is, if he's not the solution, well, my question is, then what is the actual question here? Because I do think in some ways he is a solution, but in other ways, yeah, like, is he the quarterback here for the next 7-8 years? No. But could he be the quarterback here for the next 3 years? Yes.
Dusty, I went on a diatribe. Dusty's now in the nasty chat. He must be on his way back to his hotel. Great call tonight. Safe travels tomorrow. I went off on a diatribe of this control center. And Matt and I both agreed that was the most egregious missed spot we've ever seen in our lives. And how it's quite embarrassing how last week Tyrell Ford has the control center interject for a relatively clean hit. And Curly Gittins Jr. gets his head blown off as a defenseless receiver. And no control center. That about sums it up. Hey, that's the Cole's notes, right, Maddie?
Yeah. It was very, very, very understated. Everyone made it much more than it was in the nasty chat. It was much more understated what Jay did. Dusty also did say he doesn't know of anyone that stops or work.
Well,
it's fair. Well, but they barely beat Toronto a few weeks ago in BC 27-22. He threw 3 interceptions in that game. He also ran for 2. I'm just not sold on this team in cold.
Interesting.
I'm not sold on them going to Mosaic in November. I'm not sold on them going to Princess Auto in November and getting this done. I still will have Saskatchewan or Montreal as my favorites.
Princess Autos are usually heated.
This one's not.
Oh, the stadium.
Yeah, this stadium's not. With that said, I did book my flights to Grey Cup during the game.
Hey, congrats.
Did book my flights. I now have to submit my time off to HR Daddy. I haven't done that part yet, but I will be off to Grey Cup this year.
Don't you just make the schedule?
Yeah. So I just have to tell him I'm off these days.
You just have to relay it.
I did let Dusty know that I will be going to Grey Cup this year. So
I'm happy for you. I'm excited for you.
It's been a long time.
It's going to be a hell of a weekend.
Yeah, and Huss said on Lock Shop today he's planning a party on the Friday or something.
Really?
Yeah.
You should.
I didn't even know what a Huss party would be.
Oh, I can imagine. Just Slurpees and chicken tendies.
Oh, are we going to Elephant and Castle? Is that the place? I guess I actually have to go to Elephant Castle or whatever.
Isn't that where they...
That's where Dusty has his chicken tenders with the dill sauce. I feel like now I have to... I don't think I can go to Winnipeg and not try this.
Yeah.
So I could get there. Because are we really trusting Dusty's palate?
When it comes to chicken fingers? Yes.
That's a fair point.
Like if he's telling you...
That's a fair point.
If he's telling you these are bona fide legit chicken tendies, you're taking them up.
That's an excellent point. I won't
man knows his chicken tendies.
I will not dispute you on that one. Oh, yeah, we had a Mark Killam to play. It's very short. Mark Killam spoke to the media after today's game. This is courtesy of the Edmonton Elks on their YouTube. So thank you very much for the Elks for this one. Here is Mark Killam on the postgame with the media following the Elks loss to the BC Lions, losing 37-24 and their playoff hopes coming to an end for 2025.
Tough night, long night for you folks tonight.
That's your question?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we didn't make enough plays. We got hurt with explosions against us, and we turned the ball over. Tough to do against a good football team in BC Lions.
You did show spark, like you had that early lead. Just a couple of mistakes down the stretch.
Yeah, I mean, well, we came out, the pick six hurt us. The big quarterback scramble, those are big explosions, big momentum plays, and we just didn't create enough plays. We got behind the sticks on first down, and it was tough sledding for us after that.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
2 questions, that's it.
And one of them was, that's your question?
It was, yeah. Don't have much to say on that one.
So is there still jockeying to happen as far, like there's still jockeying in both the East and West, right? Or does BC lock up hosting the West?
Going into this week, BC needed a Winnipeg loss, a Calgary loss, and a win to host the West semifinal. So that did not happen because Winnipeg won. So BC still needs to do some work to get. Yeah, because this is how it will work. Let's say Calgary loses to Toronto and to.
Can you imagine now if Calgary loses to Toronto?
If they lose to Toronto and Edmonton, though,
right?
And Winnipeg wins next week, BC will need to beat Saskatchewan on the last game of the season to get it. Otherwise, Winnipeg will jump, I think, to second.
Yeah, and
so Winnipeg could still be hosting a playoff game, as wild as this is. Like, they went into today with the possibility of finishing 5th still in the West, and I believe there's still a possibility they could finish 2nd in the West. That's how wild it can go. So yeah, no, there's still a lot to be played for.
Yeah, and Saskatchewan can. I mean, not that it mattered, but gosh, then they took Jake Mayer out of that game. Things went south. They pretty much handed Winnipeg the game.
Well,
I hope it comes back. I hope that comes back to burn their asses.
This isn't
like. I understand it, but it pissed me off.
I don't understand pulling your backup quarterback in the third quarter. That you're worried he's going to get hurt now going into the playoffs. That he's not. So who are you playing next week? Like what? Like I don't. It's football here, and you have and here's a chance. Here's where I have my issues with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And maybe I'm too into this with the Elks here in Edmonton. You have a chance to put another dagger into the hopes of the Winnipeg Blue Bombers making the playoffs. You beat them twice this season. This is a division rival. This isn't even division rival. This is your rival. This is the rival of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. And you completely let off the pedal in the fourth quarter, and the Bombers ultimately sneak away with a victory. I kind of hope that the Blue Bombers make the playoffs in the West, get to the West Final, and knock out the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Because you had a chance to knock out one of your possible opponents. And you didn't do it. And if I'll say this right now, I am worried. I don't like what I've seen from Winnipeg the last number of weeks. Outside of Hamilton, that big 43 win. I think this is a team, though, that I would be worried about them come playoff time.
Yeah.
Because they know how to win in the playoffs. They don't know how to win in the Grey Cup, clearly. But they can win in the playoffs. And I would be nervous about that. If they go into BC or Calgary and snag a victory, I'm picking them to go to the Grey Cup. I'll say that right now. I don't need to see what the matchup looks like against Saskatchewan. They'll get it done. Because that's what the Winnipeg Blue Bombers do. If they get the one playoff win, they're good. They're doing it in Saskatchewan. And you had a chance to knock them out, and you chose not to do it. So I hope it kind of bites Saskatchewan in the behind.
But Edmonton can still play a little bit of a spoiler role for Calgary next week.
Well, it depends what kind of spoiler role it is.
Depends. It does depend. It literally depends on what happens.
Well,
I mean, if Toronto upsets Calgary tomorrow, that's going to be a hard pill to swallow for the Elks.
Oh, big time. It is one, like the big one of us is you could take away West semifinal from Calgary. That would be the spoiler. But is sending them out East being spoiler?
Well, just not having, like, they don't have an ability to host anyhow, right?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do.
Okay, then spoil that so they don't get the revenue from the game.
If Winnipeg loses next week, and Calgary beats BC, I don't know who has the season series. Actually, that might be BC. They might. But if there's a three-way tie, I think if there's a three-way tie, they can jump in. I think they go to the top. I don't know at all. There's so get your notes out again with all those math points.
That makes me sick.
I don't know
to
if
my
they
stomach.
had this one on this one, but so there is a way to be spoiled.
I've had too much pizza tonight. I'm a little full.
So what happens when you order two larges, and then you get free breadsticks. Final thoughts of today's game.
Valiant effort, just couldn't go toe to toe. Failed in many different ways. In the second half, albeit. But that's what winning teams do. They don't stumble. They don't make those mistakes. Cody Fajardo had a pretty shaky second half. Justin Rankin, I don't know what we'll find out, next week, but I presume something was off, whether he was injured or ill, because they did not really use him at all. which is tough when you have that kind of playmaker on the sidelines. Not a great way to go win games. And the control center.
Your friends.
The control center. I don't know what you do. Reach out to me. Talk to me. Let's get through this together. I'd love to give you some of my advice. We can have a healthy banter. Just the two of us. Me and you. Send me an email.
Jane at EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Jane at EdmontonSportsTalk.com.
Yeah, disappointing end to the Edmonton Elks' hopes for the season. They have one more game, but hopes to the season. Tied ball game going in the second half, and then it gets away from them. Pick six, and then a third down gamble that really just too soon in the game to pull that one out, especially when they didn't do it in other games prior. Or like even last week, you didn't go for it late to get the tiebreaker.
Yeah.
But you pull it out there. The Edmonton Elks, they fall 37-24 to the BC Lions, and they will officially finish fifth in the CFL West. After 1 year out of the basement, they are back in the basement of the CFL West. There is one more game left of the Edmonton Elks season. That's going to go next Friday, 7:30 down at Commonwealth Stadium. Go get your tickets, goelks.com. Tailgate will still be going on. There'll be a lot of fun out there. We will have Green and Gold Kickoff Show 6:30 for you that day, as we'll look ahead to that game, but we'll also start looking towards 2026 on that one. Coming up today, it is 12:29. So coming up today on Edmonton Sports Talk, 10 o'clock, we got Hello Hockey. 12:30 this afternoon. In 12 hours' time, Hernan Salas, Joaquin Gage, Benny, they will be on the air with the GCL Diesel Ulster and pregame show. Oilers Devils. Oilers looking to bounce back from that loss against the Islanders. They'll get you set for that one. They'll also have the postgame show for you as well right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Following that, the pregame show, there'll also be the Pipeline show on the audio stream. And then we're back with live content starting Monday morning, 6 a.m. The Nielsen Show with Dustin Nielsen, Lieutenant Eric, and YouTube Trev. On behalf of Jay Milne, Matt Iwanyk, thanks for tuning in to the Green and Gold Postgame Show right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. Clear choice for Edmonton Sports, presented by Play Alberta. Have a wonderful weekend. Jay and I will talk with you on Monday. Bye now.